What up, what up? Welcome on in to Inside Baylor Sports, the official daily podcast of Baylor Athletics. On today's show, we're talking about the Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling team winning its 9th consecutive national championship over the weekend. We'll also discuss everything that occurred over the weekend with the NFL draft and a bunch of players getting signed for your Baylor Bears. Don't forget, you can catch Inside Baylor Sports every weekday. You can also watch the video version for free over at BaylorPlus.com and on the Baylor Athletics YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, rate, and review the pod, and follow Baylor Plus today on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. It's the official content network of Baylor Athletics. Think Netflix for your Baylor Bears. Download the app on your mobile device and sign up for your free 7-day trial today at BaylorPlus.com. It's Monday, April 29th, 2024. Justin Hoff alongside the Baylor Bear insider Jerry Hill. It's my middle brother's birthday today, so he's getting closer to 40, or just over to 40. I think he's right around that age. So that means I'm getting closer, Jerry, to 40. But a big weekend for Baylor Athletics, and the A&T team, Acrobatics and Tumbling, did it again.
I was trying to do 9, but I don't think that works, does it? Anyway. Yeah, 9 in a row, unbelievable. Obviously indisputable, best team in A&T. I think in the post-match interview or press conference, young Zach from the Lariat said, arguably the best coach in A&T, and I'm like, who's going to argue that? Like, there's nobody arguing that Felicia Mulkey is or isn't the best coach in A&T. She is the best, and this is the best team, no question. They were pushed, as I kind of thought that they might be, by Gannon, and Coach Fee thought all along this was the second best team in the country, and they proved it. They were very good, went right down to the wire. And if Baylor had had the slip-ups in the team event that it did the night before, might very well have lost this one. So much cleaner team event this time, and we're able to pull it out, winning by right at 3 points over a really good Gannon team.
Yeah, Jerry, your signals there with the 9, that was way off. So let's just not do that again. Okay, you got to work on that little pre-show work there on your end. But yeah, I'd say, hey, this much. We've said it before. Pound for pound, the Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling team, male or female, they're the best athletes on campus. Okay, this team and what they can do, Jordan Grundler and how flexible she is. I took a photo where I was like, is this normal? I mean, it's just amazing what she can do. The strength of Bailey Humphrey. And then you have a ton of athletes on this team, between the tumblers and the tops. I mean, this is really incredible what they do and make it look so easy. That's what I was saying to someone. I mean, you'll see other teams, they're going to fall occasionally. This is not easy stuff. They're flying through the air, 15, 16 feet up in the air. Coach Felicia Mulkey, as you can see on social media, Bailey Humphrey picked her up, put her in the air, trophy high in the sky. That trophy was probably 15 feet in the air, but just amazing athletes. And I think this sport, the sky's the limit. This is a healthy sport. It doesn't cost a lot. I think I can just see this sport, and we don't know what's going to happen with conference realignment as it continues and whatever it looks like. But I see great health in this sport moving forward.
Yeah, and I think you're getting more and more Division I schools that are joining in, like Iona, I think signed up or competed this last year. And I think you're going to see more and more of that. Yes, there's a lot of D2 and D3 teams out there competing, but I think you're going to see a lot more Division I teams sign up as well. So I think they had right at or just over 40 teams competing this year, and I think that's just going to continue to grow. I believe, if I remember hearing that right, there's like 12 teams right now that are recruiting for their team in 24-25. So there's that many more coming on board, and I know there's more coming. So that's exciting. This is a really, they talk about it being an emerging sport. This is one that could really explode with the growth, with the popularity of this sport, and so many people getting interested in it. And getting excited about it. You watch that, you talked about them flying in the air and all that stuff. Man, you watch that team event at the end. I don't see how you can't get excited. And I don't really care who I'm watching. I get excited by those team events. I mean, it's just 2.5 minutes of nonstop action. Just a lot of fun to watch. So yeah, I agree. I think this is one that we're going to see this sport continue to grow. Congrats to Fee Mulkey on winning that 9th consecutive national championship for Baylor, but also for promoting the sport the way she has. She's really helped grow this sport from an initial group of 6 that's now well over 40 and adding teams. Seems like almost every week.
Yeah, you don't know. Obviously, college athletics, the landscape is changing so much. But if you predict 10, 15 years down the road, if the NCAA drops the sport minimum and maybe they don't give a minimum, right? And then Title IX is the only factor. And let's say some schools have less than 10 sports, maybe you drop it. I just think A&T is cost effective, right? They just have a mat. There's others you have to do things with the courts and traveling and their travel schedule too. I mean, they have to travel a little bit, but more teams there. I think that can be helpful too. So I just think this sport, and particularly for women, right? It's for women, and just great opportunity to have large numbers as well that could cover a couple sports. So I see A&T as one of those sports that a lot of programs, a lot of athletic departments may just have to have. And the fact that we have the GOAT. There's been, Jerry, 13 national championships, and Fee Mulkey has won all 13. More importantly, she's won the last 9 with Baylor. We'll go for number 10. It's too early to say that, but we'll go for number 10 next year.
Yeah, it's crazy to think. I mean, when you think about when she walked in the door in 2014, that summer or that fall, and this was a Baylor program that, yes, it had competed at nationals, but that's back when there was barely 8 teams to get there. So and didn't win. I think Baylor had gone to maybe a couple of semifinals before, but never to this level. And she just keeps on winning. I mean, unbelievable, the win streak they're on right now, and the fact that I think she's lost like twice since she's been at Baylor, something like that. So unbelievable run. But again, we've talked about it, Justin, and I think this tournament proved it out. That gap has narrowed. I mean, like Gannon has really kind of risen its game up, and you see them getting closer and closer. Again, it's not like Baylor has dropped down. It's just other teams are bringing their game up, and they're going to challenge, they're going to push Baylor to get even better. And that's probably, that is what will happen. Baylor will get even better. And they'll meet any challenges that anybody throws at them.
Yeah, that's a sport. That's what Felicia Mulkey would say, right? Iron sharpens iron, as Coach Drew uses more than any of our coaches at Baylor. And that's one of those things that, hey, they're going to continue to get better. But yeah, I mean, it's just so impressive. And we've had previous acrobatics and tumbling student athletes, go into weightlifting. We've had some go into the WWE, Danny Palmer, Lexi Amrine, also, in the UFC with Haley Cowan. I mean, it's just, this is a sport where you can do some extra things, after. And so it's just incredible, the women and how athletic they are. And if you've never come out to a meet, I'm telling you right now, you might be like, what is A&T? What is it? I'm telling you, it is. That is exciting of a sport that we have at Baylor. And it's just a lot of fun. And our team too, I'll say this. I don't know how they do it, Jerry. And they've talked about this, right? I'm in West Virginia, was there all weekend. They're very chaotic, like a bunch. They dance. They don't take themselves too seriously. They have fun. They scream. They holler. They got a lot of swag to them, okay? And they have this ability, like a light switch, to turn that off and focus. But then once it's over with, they're going crazy. And so they're chaotic, but still champions. I don't know how they do that, but it's really impressive.
No, I think it all starts at the top. I think Fee lets them, kind of have their fun, so to speak. She wants them to have fun. I think back to the 2015, which was the first national championship at the same site, Fairmont, West Virginia. and where they they were in the locker room of the swim team at Fairmont State, and they wound up with these goggles. And then I think it was back when they would do the semifinals earlier in the day and then the finals that night. And in the interim between the semifinals and the finals, all these parents went out and got goggles at like Walmart or whatever. And so for the championship, all the parents and stuff were in these goggles. And but that again, it starts with Fee because she lets them do some of this stuff. But then they know, and Fee knows, man, when you're kind of quote between the lines, this is when we're going to focus. This is when we're going to compete. And there's no deviation from that. They know when it's time to, again, flip that switch, and they're ready to go. And they do it better, than any team I've seen. Because like you said, I don't know that there's been a Baylor team that has as much fun as them. But then, when it's competition time, it clicks on. And they're not going to lose. Basically, that's their attitude is we're going to win, we're not going to lose.
Yeah, and that was one of their pieces too, where they were saying, "Hey, leave no doubt." But I know in the past they've had that motto, "Flip the switch." We've seen that on t-shirts, sweatshirts, apparel, and so that's something they've used before. But hey, for this team to peak on the right day in the quarterfinals, they had a 271.170. Semifinals 267.995, and then the best score of the entire championship, they had it on Saturday, 272.220. So really impressive. Fee Malky, she is super impressive. She's the GOAT. And yeah, to put a kind of a footnote on everything you're saying about acrobatics and tumbling. So just listen to this, Baylor family. So the first 4 seasons of Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling at Baylor, 2011, 12, 13, 14. We were combined 8-20 overall in those 4 seasons. Since then, we've only lost 2 times and have won 9 consecutive national championships. I don't know how she does it, because that 14-15, like winning the title and turning really what a team was not a good team into a great team, like that is a really hard turn. But then this consistent climb, and she talks about it. Hey, and we hear it in the venues. I mean, no one's rooting for Baylor in there. Literally after we finish our a routine, a heat, there's nobody clapping besides the Baylor folks. And everybody in the venue besides other people are clapping when the other team goes. And so this ability to get to the top, but staying at the top, as we all well know in sports, is much harder than just getting there. And she's done that. And it's just so impressive. She gets to move into the Farrell Center too this offseason. Share that with volleyball. I told her today over the weekend that, hey, you're running out of room for trophies. So good thing you're moving to the Farrell Center.
No, that's true. And, I was thinking in these terms, Justin, that college sports, John Wooden had his run, obviously, with UCLA basketball. Gino certainly has won a ton of championships at UConn. But, man, to win, if you go back to her Oregon days, to win 13 in a row, that's just sick. Like, she has dominated the sport, and she just does it every year. And, yeah, to your point, that 14 team wasn't very good. And it wasn't like she just recruited, and brought in everybody. I mean, she brought in a few. I think maybe even a couple of them had transferred from Oregon. But it was a lot of that team from 14. And they won a national championship the next year. And that, I think that year might have been one of the years when they lost at Oregon. And they were actually the number 2 seed when they went to Fairmont that time. But, yeah, it's unbelievable what she's done. And, again, I don't see it slowing down. When she was running through the list of some of the ones that competed, in the different tumbling passes and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of talent coming back. It's a great senior class, really loaded with, 2 of maybe the best bases that Baylor has ever had. But there is a ton of talent coming back, and you just know they're not going to slow down. They're just going to look for the next challenge.
Yeah, Riley Chimwala and Bailey Humphrey, the 2 that you're speaking of. But yeah, 16 freshmen, and we've had some outstanding freshmen. Peyton Washington, her incredible story from last year to this year. I mean, she's just a warrior, an inspiration every time I see her. What a fan favorite she is. Go follow her on Instagram. She's got a great following there. Emily Bott as well, another one with a great following. Those two combined for about 130,000 followers on Instagram. So really impressive, their influence that they have, not only at Baylor in the acrobatics and tumbling community, but really nationwide. So just so impressive. And Falky would say, as we finish out here with A&T, if we aren't having fun, then why are we doing this? You know, you only live life once. And so have fun. I mean, these are 18 to 22-year-olds. And so they're having the time of their lives. I mean, when they win this title over the weekend, they're tears of joy. But I think there's also a bittersweet part of that. Like, hey, this isn't going to be here anymore. But the memories that they create will last a lifetime.
And you talked about it earlier, Justin. But they make it look easy. But you think about the hours and hours and hours of work that they put in, even going back to probably late summer, early fall, that they're just in the gym. They're doing, they're probably, particularly in the fall, they do a lot of strength and conditioning work. But they're just in there toiling away. They're preparing in September, October, November for this time, for April. And that's why they're always so ready for the moment, because they've been working so hard at it, and they do work so hard at it. They do make it look easy, but trust me, there's a lot of work that goes into that. This doesn't just happen. They've put the work in, and they make it happen.
Yeah, strong freshman class. We spoke of a few, and also Deani Branch, one of the bases and one of the future pieces for Baylor. And of course, if you think Branch, and she's got great genetics, her mom and dad. And yes, Deion Branch, her dad, Super Bowl champion, a longtime NFL player, 12 years in the NFL, more than 6,000 receiving yards. He was at the meet over the weekend. Had a chance to talk to him, and really pretty cool to see him down there and take some photos and see him on social media as well.
That sounded like some name dropping right there, Justin. I'm glad you had that. You and Dion had that time together, but that sounds like you're doing a little name dropping there. But that's okay. That's okay. Isn't it cool though that we have had some of those names come through? I think back to Mary Lou Retton's daughter that competed here, and they've had some other ones. I mean, it's fun because and back to your fun comment. I do think that's a whole thing with Fee is. And I think it's what kind of keeps her going too, is she likes to make it fun. She wants it to be fun. And man, they do have some fun. They had I know they've done it before, but they did the green hair this time. And I think I saw one of your creatives and maybe it was his hat or something, but there was some green something up there too. But anyway, it was a fun night. It was a fun week for A&T.
All right, let's now transition over to the NFL. Of course, the NFL draft this past weekend, Jerry. No draft picks, but a lot of guys getting signed for Baylor. Clark Barrington and TJ Franklin both going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Gabe Hall to the Philadelphia Eagles, and Byron Vaughns to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, and obviously you want the prestige of a draft pick, and you'd love for guys to be drafted. But honestly, this is what they want. They all want an opportunity. Everybody that was picked in the draft, that's all they wanted was an opportunity. I mean, some of them, wanted a bigger payday, that kind of thing. But for the most part, all you want is a chance to be in a camp, fight for a job, and try to hook on with some team. And all four of these guys, they all have a chance now. It may go through the workouts during the spring and into the summer, but they've all got a chance now. The door is open. So that's what each of these guys wanted. And now they've got it, and it's up to them what they do now. They've got the opportunity. What are you going to do with it? But again, a lot of these guys, this has been their dream. Now they can live that dream, but they've got to do something with it. You've got that opportunity.
Yeah, we talked before we went live here. You think about the 53-man roster. Of course, you have the practice squad as well, which has grown over the last couple of years. And it can pay well to be on that practice squad. But if you think about what it takes to be on the 53-man roster, a lot of circumstance, right? They're going to naturally going to try to get, your draft picks in there. Some of the late rounds, though, you're fighting with those guys, but it comes down to maybe, obviously how well you perform during the workouts in the off season, into training camp, into the preseason games. If you get opportunities there, your position coach. Sometimes it's about injuries, right, and health. And so some guys get injured at your position. The depth chart gets a little bit deeper down there. You get your opportunity, and that's really all you're looking for, Jerry. I mean, you're just looking for an opportunity. But as you said, when you get the opportunity, you got to make the most of it.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about the opportunity. I think that's the advantage that you have if you don't get drafted is now you get to pick. In the draft, they're picking you, and you may be going into a situation where, say, they pick a tight end, and you're one of 8 tight ends, and now you're fighting for 3 or 4 spots. So now you get to pick a spot, and Gabe gets to pick, or his agent gets to pick, we're going to go to the Eagles, that kind of thing. So I think that's the advantage in not getting drafted is you now get to pick, and they look for those opportunities where, okay, where's my best chance to make a team? And obviously a couple of the guys went with the Raiders. The Raiders need talent. The Raiders need some help. So go there and maybe you make it's not like they've got a lot of guys that are set there because they've struggled. So go there and see if you can make a team. And obviously for Byron Bonds, playing just up the road, hopefully makes the Cowboys. What a great opportunity that would be. And they do need help at linebacker. So, it could be an opening for him to, again, go in camp and make a name for yourself. Go do something that will catch the coach's eyes. Don't be the guy that gets that call. Hey, come bring your playbook. Come talk to coach, because that's a bad sign. So hopefully these guys all take advantage of their opportunity and get a shot in August to make a team.
I'm not going to lie, Jerry, with Dennis Johnson going to the Baltimore Ravens, of course, as the defensive line coach, leaving Baylor in the offseason with these defensive guys, with TJ and Gabe and Byron. Part of me was hoping for a reconnection there. Didn't happen right away, but you never know what the future holds. But part of me was hoping for some purple for one of these guys.
Well, and Dennis knows about them. So you're right. Like that's where they are right now. But as things happen, if the Ravens lose somebody or they need some help at a particular position, Dennis will go, hey, I think this guy could help us. It was a little bit of that way with the Carolina Panthers there for a couple of years. And Dennis certainly can help some of those guys, if he sees that opportunity. I don't know if that was the case here. Like, did he try to get some of them? But yeah, when things happen, whether it's during the opportunities this spring and summer or right into camp and somebody gets hurt or, they just need somebody, that kind of thing. Dennis may make a call and be like, hey, TJ, come help us out. So yeah, I think that could definitely open a door for some of these guys, knowing that Dennis is there and he's worked with, some of these guys with TJ and Gabe.
Yeah, and unfortunate, no NFL draft selection. But as you said, Jerry, when you get late in the round, that 7th round, you really want to go undrafted and pick your own team, which I know doesn't sound right, but that's really what you want. For the record books, you obviously want to get draft guys. For Baylor, though, I will say over the last, 15, 16 years, since 2009, there's only been 2 seasons where Baylor has yet to have a draft pick. Where they didn't get a draft pick, 2018 and 2024. So we've had great success in the NFL, and certainly the hope as we move into 25 and 26 in the future years that we can have not just one, but multiple draft picks going next year in the NFL draft.
Yeah, and winning isn't everything, Justin, but if you look at the years where we've had the most draft picks, it's usually after a winning season. It's usually after, when you look at those conference championships, the drafts after those years, when you look at the draft in 20, when you looked at the draft in 22, those were all big drafts. So winning helps. Winning, helps scouts notice more. It shouldn't be that simple, but I think sometimes it is. And they're getting more opportunities to see you as well. If you're playing in big bowl games or you're playing in the playoffs, that kind of thing. So I think it does give you more opportunities to be seen when you're winning like that. So yeah, if we're back this year and we're back in a big bowl game, there's going to be more guys looked at, and there's going to be some guys drafted in 25.
Yeah, winning helps everything, right? And that's something that Scott Drew had said in the national championship. If you win and you win the national championship, that's going to help your individual on top of a team. And we saw that with Davion Mitchell and him moving from basically not drafted to in the lottery and seeing that success. But yeah, Jerry, I don't like to agree with you. Just like you don't like to agree with me, but you were accurate here because in 2012, after the 2011 season, which we know was successful, 5 draft picks there. 2014, after a Big 12 championship, the first one for the Baylor Bears, another 5 draft picks there. 2015, we know there was injuries, but I still to this day say that team, top to bottom, was the most talented Baylor team that I've ever seen. Back in 2015, and that team in 2016, or at the 2016 NFL draft, with both of us were there in Chicago, 6 players for Baylor. And then back in 2022, following the Sugar Bowl championship and the third Big 12 championship, we had 6 players as well. So, Jerry, you're accurate. It pains me to say that, but you are right.
Hey, was 16, that was the Andrew Billings year too, right? Because we kept waiting for him to come off the board, and it just seemed like, it kept going farther and farther in the draft. Like we thought he might be a first or second day guy, and it just seemed like he went pretty, much later than people thought. But I know he was one of those guys in that 16 draft. Is that right?
Yeah, 4th rounder, 122 overall. And hey, give Andrew, I know local product, but give him a shot in the arm in terms of his career, right? He's been around the league for a while, still going strong. And I think most guys right now, the average, if you make a 53-man roster for guys that make a 53-man roster, is right around like 2 years is average. And you're talking about a guy who's almost tripled that now in the league. So really impressive for Andrew Billings and all the Baylor Bears that are in the NFL right now. All right, that'll do it for today's edition of Inside Baylor Sports, a Sport and Story production. Thanks for listening. For Jerry Hill, I'm Justin Hoff. Have a great Monday, and Sick 'em Bears.
Bears.